I was wrong about John Jones. Look, previously I had said that he was the greatest combat athlete in history, and I was wrong, flat out. I did not factor in everything, and with the recent retirement slash kind of not retirement, and a few other things that I've kind of dug up, I would like to officially say that I was wrong on this. Now, I'm going to elaborate on why. A lot of people, when discussing the UFC specifically, combat sports as a whole gets a bit more murky, but when specifically discussing UFC, there are two common retorts. Number one, John Jones is the GOAT, and number two, well, he failed drug tests. And I actually have a C option. I don't think the drug tests are relevant at all. I personally believe that 95% of the UFC has taken steroids, has taken HGH, has taken EPO, has taken some sort of performance enhancer that is illegal. That is my personal opinion, so I don't really hold that against John Jones. Not that he didn't do it, because he did. It's pretty obvious he's cheated multiple times inside of the octagon, outside of the octagon, in preparation. He's done a lot of bad things, so I'm not discounting that. But the reason why I don't think he has the resume that people make it out to be is he is a light heavyweight slash heavyweight, but he was a big light heavyweight who, for some reason, doesn't have the expectation that he needs to finish people, whether that's via KO, TKO, submission, etc. He has the one no contest, he has the one loss, and then he has 36% of his fights, quite a few of which are against cans and 185ers like Chael Sonnen. If we take out a few of the 185ers that he fought, his decision rate is 50% for a heavier weight class guy who is one of the biggest light heavyweights ever. When we look at lighter weight divisions like a Marab, like a Pantoja, we expect, or even in women's divisions, we expect the finish rate to be lower because they just can't generate as much power. John Jones is supposed to be the apex fighter, the number one predator out in the jungle, I guess you could say. He can take on everybody and makes it decisive. In the sport of fighting, it's not as simple as just winning and losing. In the NBA, if you win, you win. In fighting, especially where there's different weight divisions and there's so many different factors to go into, it's not as simple as just winning. Because guys like Khabib have more wins and less losses. Even if you don't want to count that John Jones loss, Khabib still has more wins. So we get into the level of competition and the way that you beat them. And honestly, when I look at it, I only think John Jones has two legit, wow, that's a big win. And when I say, wow, that's a big win, I would say someone who is in their prime, who is a full-sized athlete for that division. They have preparation, etc., and you beat them in style. Gustafsson, part 2, not his first one, and Gane, obviously the submission heavyweight. I feel like those are both very impressive wins. With the exception of that, I mean, he took DC to a close decision, and he was probably cheating at that point. Then he did get busted cheating. He barely beat Reyes. A lot of people don't think he beat Reyes. He barely beat Gustafsson the first time. He beat a lot of lighter guys earlier in his career, a lot of cans. And I think the way you win matters a lot, especially as you get up there in the weight classes. I think you need to be closer to an 80% finish rate. And I don't think that... It's one thing if the decisions are close. If the decisions are a blowout. If you're winning 50-45, that almost is essentially a KO, and it can be even more convincing than a KO because sometimes, like a Dracus du Plessis, he will get KOs or submissions, and it'll be a 50-50 fight up until the time he gets them. So decisions can be okay, and sometimes they can actually add to a legacy. Like if Tom Aspinall goes out in 50-44 some guy, it's like, okay, well, he's got a lot of options in his tool bag. He can knock you out early. He can submit you. He can take you the distance. So in some cases, a decision actually makes sense. John Jones's decisions were all razor thin, or even robberies. I mean, he legitimately has two, in my opinion, all-time wins that are in style. 48-47 victory, it's like, okay, I guess. I mean, those wins don't really get me excited. Nothing like an Ilia Topuria. When you knock a guy out, it's definitive. In the sport of fighting, it's definitive. When you submit them and they tap, when you knock them out, There is no debate. And some decisions can be definitive. A Marab decision sometimes is definitive, but you can't be 48-47, guys, and counting that as an all-time win. That's an all-time sparring match. That's not an all-time win in the sport of UFC. Now, where I would rank Jon Jones all-time, honestly, I would probably have to have him outside my top five. For the reason that I don't think his level of competition is as high as any of the modern-day guys. And guys like Tom Aspinall, I think, are already nipping on his heels. Now, Tom Aspinall is not a better fighter all-time than Jon Jones, but part of the hurt in legacy and the hurt in his resume is the fact that he's not accepting the Tom Aspinall fight. Obviously, if he loses, it's going to hurt his resume. But if he accepts the fight against the Boogeyman, who is bigger than him, faster than him, younger than him, and wins in style, I don't think anyone can debate it. I think that win would solidify. I don't think I can say anything. I think that quells all of the debate on, okay, well, is he really as good as he says he is? Can he win decisively? But the fact that he's not even accepting the fight, that, as well as the lack of quality finishes against in-prime, full-sized opponents, not 185ers, not cans at 205, not old man Stipe, I think Jon Jones' legacy has been severely, severely faked.